The world-renowned monk and teacher Thich Nhat Hanh has died. He died on the 22nd of January, and there's been lots of things on this platform about his passing and the ceremonies surrounding it. When someone is, well, a representative deeply aligned with a living expression of a particular ideology, especially Buddhism, even introducing this video, I was about to say, sadly, Thich Nhat Hanh has died. But if you've ever heard Thich Nhat Hanh talking about death, he says that we're continually in a process. Our ideas about life and death are sort of narrativized. Of course, it's a non-theistic religion that he practices and teaches. So in this video, we'll just talk a little bit about Thich Nhat Hanh, his life, some facts about him, what he personally meant to me as a teacher, not that I ever had the privilege of meeting him, and perhaps a few easily accessible lessons that we can take from this immense and powerful life. On this platform, I do many Thich Nhat Hanh meditations. I find them super easy. I sent one to my mum, the one where, there's a link to it in the description, where he just rings a bell, teaches us to be calm. It's one of his most watched videos on this platform. And what I find easy and accessible about Thich Nhat Hanh's teaching is that he embodies what he practices. This, I believe, is something that all of us that are looking to engage spiritually, and what I mean by engage spiritually is live more freely in a more connected way and feel that our life has purpose and meaning that we are creating as we live it. And I feel that because of the practice that had guided Thich Nhat Hanh's life, when you listen to him talk, you not only from the rational understanding of what he's saying benefit, but also he emanates something that is very profound, because of course language is a narrow bandwidth tool, a latterly evolved capacity of human beings, and it certainly isn't as profoundly deep as the ability to convey our essence through presence. Here's a few things about Thich Nhat Hanh. He's known as the Father of Mindfulness. He was a major influence on Western practices of Buddhism. Sold 5 million books in the United States, including Being Peace, Peace is Every Step, The Miracle of Mindfulness, loads and loads of books. He founded 6 monasteries and dozens of practice centers in the United States, Asia, and Europe, as well as over 1,000 local mindfulness practice communities known as Sanghas. When you talk about spirituality of people and letting go and surrendering to our higher power, do you often feel that either you or the person you're talking to brings up, oh yeah, but if you become spiritual, you might lose your grit, your ability to achieve things, to get things done. We don't want to become like little wet blankets or just crouched up in a corner, hopeless, helpless and inefficient. It's pretty incredible what can be achieved by following the path in terms of practical achievement. To establish, hundreds of monasteries and mindfulness centers, the impact that will have made on the planet is obviously incalculable and positive, hugely positive. A lot of people from other areas of meditative practice, notably the Maharishi, whose ideas inspired the David Lynch Foundation, believe that if a significant percentage, and they've got a number actually, it's like a square root of 1% or something, I can't remember it, but if a certain number of us start meditating, it will change the consciousness of the entire planet. So Thich Nhat Hanh's contribution just in the establishment of these monasteries and mindfulness centers has a measurable, if not measurable, somewhat discernible impact on the earth. The same way as I suppose if you live in a city or a community where you're deluged continually with advertising, or if you're on the phone all the time, if your environment is about perpetual external connection, that will affect your environment, that will affect your inner state. He coined the term Engaged Buddhism in his book, Vietnam, Lotus in a Sea of Fire. Engaged Buddhism refers to a Buddhist social movement which applies the Buddhist ethics, insights acquired from meditation practice, and the teachings of the Buddhist Dharma to contemporary situations of social, political, environmental, and economic suffering and injustice. One of the things about the modern mindfulness and well-being movement is it is focused on individual improvement. And I think a lot of us can fall into that trap that our meditation or yoga or whatever spiritual practice we pursue ultimately is about trying to feel better. Now, nothing wrong with wanting to feel better if you've lived a life of suffering. And, of course, Thich Nhat Hanh, being a Buddhist, will explain the essential nature of suffering, the unavoidable nature of suffering. But I find it very inspiring that Thich Nhat Hanh was dedicated to using religious and more spiritual principles to activate social awareness, become awakened, become aware, serve others, serve God. He wouldn't say serve God because, of course, Buddhists don't believe in God. But they do believe in reincarnation, which I think is kind of crazy, because what does that mean? That they believe that consciousness is a limitless oneness manifesting itself in form continually through time. And the practices they use, and I'm sure this is a different branch of Buddhism, to nominate Dalai Lamas and stuff, and reincarnated Lamas showing little babies like, do you recognize this walking stick? It's sort of amazing and incredible. And I'm not being disrespectful about that religion. I'm just saying the idea that Buddhism lacks a mystical component is a little bit misleading when there's reincarnation and the idea that people would recognize artifacts from a previous incarnation. That is, I suppose, not mystical if you look at it from a practical perspective, i.e. things that we regard as mysterious would not be mysterious if we had the senses to measure and regard them and understand them. But from an ordinary perspective, perhaps you could regard that as esoteric and as metaphysically abstract, or something like liturgy and burning incense, or particular practices of prayer in Islam, or the idol worship in Hinduism. It's like Buddhism, in spite of its more, what do I want to say, streamlined ideologies, it's still a mystical and spiritual ideology. What I like, though, is that Thich Nhat Hanh in particular believed in this engaged Buddhism, that if you are awakened and awakening, you have a duty to make not only your own life more beautiful, but the lives of others more beautiful. That, I think, is inspiring. And perhaps that's the main message we can take from Thich Nhat Hanh's life. He was an activist for peace and deep ecology movements, promoting non-violent solutions to conflict and raising awareness of the interconnectedness of all elements in nature, meaning you and I, our conscious experience of reality, and all other life forms on the planet and the planet herself. What a lovely ideology. His key teaching, right, good, let's focus, is that through mindfulness, we can learn to live happily in the present moment, the only way to truly develop peace, both in oneself and in the world. Wow. Now, what I have been told continually, because I've simply refused to absorb this lesson, is the only thing that's real is the exact moment that you're living in right now, that you can't achieve happiness in the past, you cannot achieve happiness in the future. You must fully engage with the present, and any sadness or regret or fear or remorse or anger that you feel is an indication that you are not entirely present in the exact moment you're living in right now. Obviously, there's situations where someone perhaps throws a snowball at your head or kicks you up the bum. You think, hey, I'm angry in this moment right now. But as soon as it's happened, like how a duck will shake itself off or a dog will give itself a little shake. The animal kingdom know that the body holds the score. Give the body a little movement, shake it off and move on. We humans ruminate, which is a word that's derived from deers that are ruminants, although the word deer is already plural. Oh, drat, I was so close to being perfect. We chew through our problems continually, don't we? There's still things that happened about 100 years ago that I'm bothered about. You said what to Winston Churchill? We've got to move on, let this stuff go. True presence in the moment. I believe they're right about that. I believe Thich Nhat Hanh, obviously I'm not going to argue with him in a video that's a tribute to him on his passing, but it's clear to me that when I am present and engaged and in love, acknowledging the essential oneness, or at least interconnectedness, if not oneness, because I suppose those are different words, that I feel more at peace and more at ease. In 1967, Martin Luther King nominated him for the Nobel Peace Prize. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? To be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, then to find out the person that did it was Martin Luther King. You think, I'm on the right track. Saying his ideas for peace, if applied, would build a monument to ecumenism. I think that's the static. Let me check what that fucking means right now. This is how we learn. The only way I know it is because it's in an episode of Father Ted. Ecumenism. Do you watch Father Ted? Right, this is how it sounds. Ecumenism. 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 The principle or aim of promoting unity among the world's Christian churches. Ecumenism. Ecumenism. Ecumenical matter is what it said in Father Ted. So he says here, look, Martin Luther King, if applied, would build a monument to ecumenism, to world brotherhood, to humanity. Should be brotherhood, sisterhood, siblinghood, to humanity. I'm not criticising Martin Luther King. Ecumenism. And I suppose that Martin Luther King meant, or if all of the religions in the world recognised our shared interest in unity, love and peace and solidarity rather than sort of territorial disputes, we'd be laughing, wouldn't we? Here are some Quotes from Thich Nhat Hanh. Fear keeps us focused on the past or worried about the future. If we can acknowledge our fear, we can realize that right now we are okay. Right now, today, we are alive. Right now, we are still alive and our bodies are working marvelously. Our eyes can still see the beautiful sky. Our ears can still hear the voices of our loved ones. Oh, it's lovely to listen to him, isn't it? So at ease and at peace. It's sort of sad that he's dead now. Now I'm feeling sad, but is it fundamentally sad, or is it sad that I've gone, there isn't no more Thich Nhat Hanh to listen to? Buddhism teaches us not to try and run away from suffering. You have to confront suffering. You have to look deeply into the nature of suffering in order to recognize its cause, the making of the suffering. Because sometimes we think the suffering is an external thing. Why doesn't he, she, they love me? When sometimes it's actually really, why am I focused on the idea that I can remedy some sense of inner malady or lack with the acquisition of that thing? I cannot control whether or not other people love me. Through being present and practicing spiritual principles, I can let go of the idea that anything external can remedy me other than a full engagement in the present. Freedom is not given to us by anyone. We have to cultivate it ourselves. It is a daily practice. No one can prevent you from being aware of each step you take or each breath in and each breath out. One of the meditations that Thich Nhat Hanh does that I really enjoy is the one where he says, when I'm breathing in, think I am breathing in. When I'm breathing out, think I am breathing out. These are pathways to, well, bliss. You know, people aren't talking just about, it's quite nice, or it's relaxing. We're talking about bliss, ultimately. Let me know what lessons you have taken from the life of Thich Nhat Hanh. Has he been a great meditation teacher to you? Has he helped you understand ontology, theology, life in general better? Do you feel sad? How do you manage your own feelings? And what is your spiritual practice right now? Do you agree with Martin Luther King that Thich Nhat Hanh's essential message of ecumenism could be applied in life more broadly, more generally, that we should look for brotherhood, sisterhood, fraternity, sorority with one another? Is that the answer? Tell me what you've drawn. What I've taken from his life is that the purpose of the spiritual path is to awaken and then to serve others, to acknowledge the interconnectedness. I do believe in God, the limitless oneness, the love. And I feel that our job here is to serve it. I find it a very hard thing to do, but one day at a time, I feel that I am improving. And somewhat that is because of the greatness of teachers such as Thich Nhat Hanh. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and subscribe. Hit me up in the comments below if you enjoyed this video. Have a little look at this one or have a look at this one. But more important than anything else we have learned from the life of Thich Nhat Hanh is stay present in the moment. Join my little community. You can click here to get on the mailing list. You can come see me. I do stuff like this all the time, meditations, live stuff. Stay free.